Hey, y'all, listen, welcome into the building. Coming to the building, people. Welcome in the building. Happy Tuesday. Okay, I wasn't here last night, but we're here tonight with trending topics. And apparently, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. To my mods out there, thanks for being in the building. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all keep the streets clean. Keep the streets clean because we got stuff to talk about tonight. Okay? Buckle your seatbelts. I'm going to tell you ahead of time. Buckle your seatbelts. Because we got a conversation to talk about. And the title is What's Going On? What's going on? So we got this Mike Jeffries, Abercrombie Fitch, was arrested today. And guess where he's at right now? Can anybody in the chat guess where Mike is at? Where Mike Jeffries? He's accused of similar crimes like Diddy, Sean Combs, Puffy, Brother Love. Where he at? Anybody can take a guess? Yeah, Julius, he's out on bail. He's home. He's watching Netflix and chilling. Drinking, come on now, Bed-Stuy BK. He's on the streets, free. Savannah said probably in Europe. And guess how much he offered up? $10 million. No ankle bracelet, no security, no nothing. He got a private jet also. He didn't give up a passport. Matter of fact, he has dual citizenship. It's talking about a flight risk. And he didn't come and say, I'll meet you, y'all ready? Because he knew he was about to be indicted. They had to come to him. They arrested him in Florida. And God only knows when he has to appear in New York. I guess he can go whenever. And when you see the written up document of his indictment, in comparison to Diddy, it's soft and pink. Soft and pink, but him and his partner, follow what I'm saying here, people. Pick up the breadcrumbs, put them in your basket, or pick up the puzzle pieces, put them down on the mat and start putting it together. A lot of stuff that he did within a 10-year window where he was with who? Cassie Ventura, his partner, his girlfriend, employee. This Mike Jeffries, him and his partner was ride or die. They was doing the crimes together. All I'm doing here, y'all, is telling y'all about some similarities. In this Jeffrey case, they got a whole nother person that they hired. It says it in the paperwork. Y'all know I don't be putting 2110. Y'all know I look at the paperwork, the documents. The document says they hired this man to recruit the people they wanted to violate. That's what the document says, y'all. They hired this man. That's what the document says. They hired this man to get the people that they was going to violate, and then he tested the people out. How sick is that? He tested the people out before he said yay or nay to whether he was going to bring them to the parties. Everybody lost their mind because Diddy renamed the orgy a FO, a freak off. Lost their mind. People falling down the street. Oh my God, a freak off. People passing out. Meantime, there's new beaches in this world. Okay, there's new beaches. People having orgies left and right all the time. People wife swapping. And he renamed it an FO, and everybody say he the devil. Listen, let's do this here now. Let me talk. We doing grown folk talk. I'm not saying he didn't do. I'm not saying he innocent. I ain't saying that. But I'm just saying that this man right here, he's in his 80s. And the things they were doing, very similar. Diddy's behind bars. This man, he walked into jail. They took his mugshot and he went home. Yes, he did. So he had a partner. Him and the partner was participating, doing all this stuff. Cassie and Diddy doing whatever they was doing. But they got a hired person that they're naming. And this man is still walking the streets. In Diddy's case, they won't give us no more names. They're not giving us names. They want us to believe that all of this hellish stuff that he's being accused of, he did it on his own. They will not give us a name of the people that was part of the enterprise. They're not giving us names. But this Abercrombie and Fitch, they gave us the 3 names, the 3 top tier names. They gave it to us. And guess what they did too? They arrested all of them. But guess what? Only one of them is still behind bars tonight. Only reason why, because he don't live in the country. The other 2 are chilling at home watching cable TV. Having their meal cooked by their chef. Coming up with a strategy from the free world. Now, you want to know something different that they didn't say in the Diddy case? They clearly said there were hired security that would not let you leave until Mike Jeffries wanted you to leave. That's what they said in the paperwork. And I told y'all before, but y'all don't appreciate my little due diligence. I told y'all before. They had 99 phones that they seized from Diddy house. They had all of these tapes. Tapes are being sold. This, that, and the other. But I asked y'all, I said this. If they saw one person on one of those tapes that looked like they was trying to get out the room and couldn't, they would have slammed Diddy. They would have thrown him upside the wall. But instead, they tell us about 1,000 bottles of baby oil. But in this case right here, this Mike Jeffries, this Abercrombie and Fitch, they said hired security was there and you could not leave the room until they was ready for you to leave the room. It's in the paperwork. That's what they said. Freedom 557, I've been saying that for a whole hot minute now. And not because, I think he innocent. I'm talking due process here. Mike Jeffries got due process. He walked in there. He got arrested. He took his mugshot. He gave his $10 million bond or whatever he needed to do. And he walked out. He ain't got no ankle bracing on. He didn't have to submit to drug tests, this, that, and the other. He walked out. He walked out. Due process. He walked out. It's funny how this man has similar stuff that they're talking about, like Diddy, right? But they're not charging Mike Jeffries with RICO. But yet they said he had cash. He had cash on hand that he was handing to these people so they could get paid. Linky, Lynette, if there was any type of substances in that baby oil, when they told us it was 1,000 bottles of baby oil, they would have said it was laced with substances. But what they did is they threw it out there and they knew the streets would run with it. Yeah, no, Keisha, you want to talk to me? Everybody's talking this. So when we tell all the 99 other facts, then it comes back with, well, he tampered with witnesses. The witness they claim he tampered with, is Kalani. But if you name everybody in the suit against me as Jane Doe, John Doe, you're not giving me no names. Can we agree with that, y'all? They will not give him the names. Well, how am I tampering with a witness that I don't even know is a witness? Can y'all pick up the puzzle pieces with me? And can we talk? You saying that I tampered with witnesses. The witnesses I don't even know about because you won't give me no names. You won't tell me that Diva did it or Diva's accusing me. You won't tell me it's Diva, it's Jane, it's Michael, it's Johnny. You're not telling me no names. So I'm calling the people I normally call in my Rolodex and I'm talking to them. Now you want to say because I called Kalani 55 times or 100 times that I'm tampering with a witness? How did I know she was a witness? And matter of fact, like my lawyer said, when I found out she was a witness, I ain't calling no more. I ain't pick up the phone. When they don't give due process to one, it trickles down to the little people. And the next thing you know, we in the courtroom got a traffic ticket and they talking about, I can't get out the jail tonight. Where's my due process? Come on now. Are we talking? Are y'all going to buckle your seatbelts? Let's talk. I'm tampering with a witness that I don't know is a witness. How is that so? Does that make sense to anybody? They will not give him the names. And it's not about feeling sorry for Diddy. It's not. I'm neutral in this thing. I'm neutral in this thing. If you did something wrong, you need to go to jail. But if you want to give my neighbor bail, if we both robbed the bank and my neighbor got bail, then I should get an opportunity for bail too. See, Keisha, you said, do they have video evidence like Diddy has? Well, see, that's the problem, right? Let's think about this. They got video evidence with Diddy, but they still ain't tell us. And y'all gotta, and don't come at me with the feds ain't gonna let all their cars loose. When you collect that there's 1,000 bottles of lube, you can let us know that, oh, somebody looked like they was passed out in there and was being violated. We saw people running for the door and they couldn't get out. They have videos of what? Who do they have videos of? They have videos of 10 people engaging in sex. I need more. Because let me tell you this, and I see my moms out there, I appreciate y'all. Let me tell you this. Unfortunately, it may not be my thing to do, but a lot of those people out in Hollywood, they like the wife swap, girlfriend swap, boyfriend swap. They like to all get in it and do whatever with each other. And this is Diva talking. This is Diva talking for 1 minute. I always believe, and I'm not going to dig deeper into this because we got to stay focused with the show at hand tonight. I always believe that situation with Will Smith, Jada, and Chris Rock, the night of the Academies, it was bigger than what we saw. Everybody's out here swapping rides, doing whatever, and then the lines get blurred. I don't care who you are. When you let a third person into your relationship, it gets nasty. It gets nasty. Mark messed up, but guess what? They got thrown a bone today indirectly. And Tony Rico on the case. You give a man that got similar charges as my client, and this is out in New York. They got to extradite those individuals. Mike Jeffries, he got to go to New York. You give a man, and if you know anything about law, you could use prior cases as a precedent. You give a man that has similar allegations as do my client, He just walks out of jail, and you telling me my client after an offer of $50 million, an ankle bracelet. I won't have the internet in my house. I won't let nobody come over but my family. I came to New York and gave you all of my passports. This man didn't give up his passport today. He got his passport. He has dual citizenship. He has a jet, his own private plane. And then everybody has the right to file as a Jane Doe or John Doe. They don't need to tell us who Jane Doe or John Doe is, but they do need to tell Diddy's lawyer. How can you prepare a case to fight against somebody and they're going to be named as John Doe or Jane Doe? Do you remember Jane Doe from the VMA Awards? This man seen 1,000 people in his life. He's not us. He's a celebrity. What's her name? What's she look like? Who are you talking about? How am I going to say yay or nay and I don't even know who you're talking about? We seen Thalia sit up there, gave her name. Thalia gave her name. Did a whole press conference, and 48 hours later, she was caught in a whole lie. And we're saying that this man don't have the right to know who's trying to sue him? We're going to talk. Let me move on from that. If we get an opportunity, we're going to talk about Cardi B in this CPS situation. Cardi B, she need a big sister. I think her sister is younger than her, right? I think Cardi B, is she the oldest? Cardi B need a big sister. She need an auntie. She needs somebody. Because she doing too much in these streets. She doing too much. She said if she find out who called CPS, she gonna beat them down. Girl, are you gonna incriminate yourself again on video? Learn from Diddy. These videos are problematic. Then we got Busta Rhymes. He defend Diddy. If we get to it, we're gonna talk about it. But in the meantime, people, and in between time, buckle your seatbelts, hit that like button, the diva working. Hit the like button, the diva working, okay? Don't they have an evidentiary hearing coming up to show what Diddy's lawyer requested? Shamika, yeah, they do. But Shamika, but you see, they just got thrown a trump card. Yes, they did. They got thrown a trump card. If I was Diddy's lawyer, you need to explain to me why my client can't be out on bail. Matter of fact, I'm taking back some of this stuff I offered. This man got on 10,000. Listen, Diddy put up his house, and I'm gonna take Mama house off the table. He'll wear the ankle bracelet, but that's it. This man walked out. Yes, he did. 80. Walked right on out of there. Well, I need to bring the people in the building. Y'all know what I need in the chat, right? I need a what? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Tuesday night trending topics. And oh my, we got stuff to talk about. The title is What's Going On? We got this guy from Abercrombie and Fitch. Him, his partner, a third person. That sounds like an enterprise to me. With the RICO charges. Sounds like an enterprise to me. They organized sex parties, violated people. And in their lawsuit, they clearly say that people was injected with medications. Let me read the people in the building because, listen, I got to stop. I got to stop. Hold on one second. Hey, Katrina.
Hey, Diva. Hey, Chat. Choo, choo, choo.
Hey, Savannah. Hey, Felicia.
Hey, Tina.
Hey, Dustin. Hey, Julius.
Julius, hey, Diva.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Hit the like button. The Popo mod is back. Be on your best behavior, or else I'm going to give a spanking.
Come on now. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start with this Abercrombie and Fitch story because that's where we got to start, y'all. We got to start the night off with that. First, I'm going to play the press conference for you. So hold on 1 second and let's play the press conference, okay? So let me hold on. Let me let Juanita in the building. Hey, Juanita. Okay, so wait. Let's play this press conference. And the press conference was really long. I'm playing a short version of it. But please listen carefully. Please listen.
I'm Breon Peace, the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. Thank you all for joining us today. With me today are James Dennehy, Assistant Director in charge of the FBI's New York Field Office. We have Deputy Chief Carlos Ortiz, Commanding Officer of the NYPD Special Victims Unit. And we have my office's outstanding prosecution team, Aaron Reed, Megan Farrell, and Philip Pilmar. We're here today to announce the arrest and charging of 3 defendants. Former CEO of Abercrombie Fitch, Michael Jeffries, Matthew Smith, and James Jacobson on charges of sex trafficking and engaging in interstate prostitution. Powerful individuals for too long have trafficked and abused for their own sexual pleasure young people with few resources and a dream of securing a successful career in fashion or entertainment. To anyone who thinks they can exploit and coerce others by using the so-called casting couch system, this case should serve as a warning. Prepare to trade that couch for a bed in federal prison. The message from today's prosecution is clear. Sexually exploiting vulnerable human beings is a crime, and doing so by dangling dreams of a future in fashion or modeling or any other business is no different. My office and our law enforcement partners will always prioritize standing up for victims, no matter their gender and no matter how powerful the wrongdoers think they are. We will hold them to account. As we allege in the indictment, between 1992 and 2014, Michael Jeffries was the chief executive officer of Abercrombie Fitch. Abercrombie was a widely known clothing retailer with stores around the world. Aspiring fashion models knew that a place on one of Abercrombie's iconic ads could be the ticket to success in the modeling industry. But while Jeffries was the CEO of one of the most recognizable clothing retailers in the world, he was using his power, his wealth, and his influence to traffic men for his own sexual pleasure and that of his romantic partner, Matthew Smith. The charging documents describe in graphic and disturbing detail the violent and exploitive acts these defendants perpetrated, for which they will now face justice in a court here in the Eastern District of New York. So here's what's alleged in the indictment. Jeffries and Smith employed James Jacobson to act as a recruiter to find men. Jacobson engaged in, quote, tryouts with men across the world where he would typically pay them to engage in sex acts with him. Following the tryouts with Jacobson, Smith would often then personally approve whether the men who were selected would meet Jeffries and Smith. The defendants would fly the selected men to Jeffries and Smith's homes in the Hamptons in New York City or to hotels around the world in such places as England, France, Italy, Morocco, and St. Bart's for the purpose of attending events to engage in commercial sex. But beyond simply hiring men for sex, Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson used force, fraud, and coercion to traffic those men for their own sexual gratification. For example, as alleged, the defendants employed a referral system and an interview process that did not inform the men of the details of the sex events before they attended, including the full extent and nature of the sexual activity that would be required of the men at these events. They caused the men to believe that attending these sex events could yield modeling opportunities with Abercrombie or otherwise benefit their careers. Smith and Jeffries employed a secret staff to operate these sex events. The staff ensured that the men signed non-disclosure agreements and handed over their personal items, such as their phones, before the start of the events to maintain the secrecy of these events. The defendants caused the men to believe that not complying with requests for certain acts, sex acts during the events, could harm their careers. The defendants pressured the men to consume alcohol, Viagra, and muscle relaxants known as poppers during the sex events. And they required the presence of staff during the sexual activity and ensured that the men did not.
Hold on, I'm gonna keep playing this, but come on, Bed-Stuy BK, stick with me. Freak off events, right? Come on now, let's talk. Alcohol, Viagra, poppers, substances, right? Come on, we're talking.
I leave the sex events until Jeffries and Smith decided that the sessions were over. Also, as alleged, on more than one occasion, Jeffries and Smith either directed others to inject or personally injected men with an erection-inducing substance for the purpose of causing the men to engage in sex acts the men were incapable of engaging in or unwilling to engage in. Additionally, the indictment alleges on more than one occasion when men did not or could not consent, Jeffries and Smith violated the bodily integrity of these men by subjecting them or continuing to subject them to invasive sexual and violent contact by body parts and other objects. As alleged in the indictment, Jeffries, Smith, and Jacobson didn't just carry this activity on for a couple of occasions. Their sex trafficking and prostitution enterprise lasted at least from the end of 2008.
Hold on, I did hear him say enterprise. Did y'all catch that? Where's the RICO charges? I heard him say enterprise, but let's go.
Until early 2015. During that period, the defendants hired dozens of men and transported them to New York and around the globe. They spent millions of dollars on a massive infrastructure to support this operation and maintain its secrecy. This included hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash for commercial sex, prolific amounts of money for staff to run the sex events, money for domestic travel, international travel, hotel rooms, services from a security company, and Jacobson's salary, among other things. Now, this investigation remains ongoing. Although there are 15 John Does identified as victims in this indictment, this interstate prostitution venture encompassed dozens and dozens of men. And I encourage anyone with information about this case, including anyone who was a victim of the defendant's alleged crimes, to contact the FBI. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Now, I want to thank the victims who have already come forward for sharing their stories. Prosecutions like this are really impossible without the bravery of victims who are willing to report what happened to them to law enforcement. With this office, the Department of Justice and its law enforcement partners will continue to work tirelessly to protect victims from powerful individuals who use their wealth and their influence to exploit and harm others for sexual gratification. In addition to my team, I'd like to give special thanks to FBI Special Agent Amanda Young and NYPD Detectives Paul Byrne and Antonio Pagan, who have worked hard on this investigation in the pursuit of justice.
Ooh, child. They gave that 1-800 number. That's an easy number to remember, right? 1-800 call FBI, because similar to like when they did the Diddy press conference, they said, if you know something, say something, give us a call. So right off the bat, they got 15. Right off the bat, they got 15, okay? And they're looking for more. And someone said, well, wasn't boys, we don't know what's going on yet because this thing is the tip of the iceberg. In 2022 on Netflix, 2022 on Netflix, they did a documentary on Abercrombie and Fitch. They already paid out some suits because they was accused of all kinds of things in that company. And the accusations is why he stepped down from his own company. But when he stepped down, he still walked away with a big package, millions of dollars, and drifted off in his on his private jet. I got to share screen before I go around, and we will interject more stuff as I go through this. Let me just see if this is what I want to show real quick. Hold on one second. Very sad. I have the indictment. We'll interject some of that a little bit later. 16, ex-Abercrombie CEO Mike Jeffries smirks in first photo since arrest for sex abuse at fake model tryouts. The hypersexual brand allegedly has a dark history. So Abercrombie and Fitch ex-CEO lured hopeful models to 6 sex parties with promises of success so he could ply them with alcohol and defile their unconscious bodies, prosecutors have alleged. Mike Jeffries, he's 80, has been accused of organizing perverse casting couch auditions that targeted young men looking to break into the fashion industry. That is a picture of him leaving the courtroom on bail. So Mike Jeffries, former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, smiles after a court appearance on Tuesday where he's accused of sexual misconduct. That's him with his lawyer. Do you see any ankle bracing on his feet? I don't. Okay. So Jeffries, his partner, Matt Smith, 61, and a third man, Jim Jacobson, were arrested on Tuesday after a federal investigation was launched in January. The ex-CEO appeared in court and was pictured afterward, eerily smiling while he walked away from the courtroom. Jeffries' investigations came 1 year after a civil suit accused him of running a seedy sex trafficking scheme using Abercrombie's name and targeting nearly 100 men. 100 men. Hours after the arrest, U.S. Attorney Brian Peace of the Eastern District of New York laid out disturbing allegations against Jeffrey made by 15 hopeful male models. Between the 1990s and the early 2000s, the young men were allegedly scouted by Jacobson, who made them audition by performing acts so they could meet Jeffries, Peace said. Then the hopeful models would be invited to perverse Abercrombie parties where they would be enticed to have sex with Jeffrey, Smith, or each other, prosecutors say. The men were allegedly encouraged to drink alcohol and use muscle relaxers until they were passed to the point of consent and were violated by body parts or other objects. What's interesting is, with Diddy, they wanted to tell us about all the hardcore substances, but here they saying alcohol, muscle relaxants. Well, I'll continue on. Some models were encouraged to inject their private area with liquid Viagra if they were incapable or unwilling to engage in the horrific session, according to prosecutors. The events were planned by a secret staff who convinced models to sign non-disclosure agreements and hand over their phones to maintain secrecy, prosecutors say. Peace alleged that if the model said no to anything at the parties, they were told their careers with Abercrombie were in jeopardy. The men did not leave the sex events until Jeffries and Smith decided the sessions were over, Peace said. The indictment was hardly similar to bombshells stories told by former models in the 2023 BBC documentary, The Abercrombie Guys, The Dark Side of Cool. In the doc, a dozen former models came forward with disturbing tales of performing sexual favors in the hopes they could model for the brand. One man said at a party he remembers Jeffries trying to kiss him before his drink was allegedly spiked and he blacked out. The next morning, he woke up and found something inside of him, a contraceptive inside himself. When I put things together, I believe there's a very good possibility I was drugged and AR'd, he told the BBC. It probably never knew. I probably never know for sure the answer of what happened. Smith and Jeffries' lawyers previously denied any allegations of wrongdoing and are awaiting for the indictment to be unsealed to comment. We will respond in detail to the allegations after the indictment is unsealed and when appropriate, but plan to do so in the courthouse, not the media. Jeffries' attorney, Britt Beaver, said in a statement, after the reported arrest, lawyer Brad Edwards, who is representing the accusers, said the alleged scheme permeated throughout the company and allowed the 3 individuals arrested today to victimize dozens and dozens of young, aspiring male models. Well, let me say this. A lot of people do not wait to their 18s, their 20s, to get into the modeling agency. And why? Because usually in a modeling agency, your youth is what gets you to have a long and good career. So somebody said earlier, well, it wasn't any boys. We don't know that because they're not really saying now. They're keeping this thing very vague, right? We have spoken with over a dozen who have expressed resounding appreciation for law enforcement who have rightfully taken our lawsuit and this Abercrombie sex trafficking operation seriously, he told the U.S. Sun. Abercrombie & Fitch had no comment on the arrest, but has previously said they were appalled and disgusted by Jeffries' alleged actions. Okay, there's models there. Price of fame. David Bradbury, a former hopeful model, said Jacobson allegedly made it clear that if he didn't perform the S behavior, he would never be considered for a job. It should have been a red flag. I wanted to believe this was an opportunity to meet someone who could make all my dreams come true, he told BBC. Bradbury said he was invited to Jeffries' private home in the Hamptons by Jacobson and had S with the alleged middleman after he was given gift cards to buy an outfit. He said he didn't feel safe to say no and watched the CEO staff allegedly hand out thousands of dollars to aspiring male models after they visited the home. Barrett Paul, another model, described feeling like a caged animal while in Jeffries' audience. Who is Mike Jeffries? Mike Jeffries is a former CEO for Abercrombie & Fitch. He led the company from the early 1990s until his resignation in 2014. Jeffries helped to transform the brand into a global sensation through a highly sexualized brand image. He implemented controversial practices, including hiring attractive young staff in maintaining a cool image. For the former male model, hopefuls have since come forward and accused Jeffries of abusing his power to lure them into performing as acts. The ex-CEO allegedly had a middle scout young man and groomed them before instructing them to have sex with Jeffries and his partner, Matt Smith. Abercrombie eventually faced backlash for his branding, prompting Jeffries to step down due to declining sales. I was not human to any of these people. I was a body, he said in the doc. I was being presented to someone to do what they wanted with. Paul alleged that when he was 22, he was approached by a recruiter to provide a sexual experience for Jeffries and his partner. He felt he couldn't say no because he was indebted to the recruiter, who was also a former Abercrombie model. What happened to me changed my life, and not for the better, he said. The experience, I think it broke me. Bradbury, who is a former crewman on the reality show Below Deck, filed a lawsuit against Jeffries and accused the Abercrombie brand of profiting off the over-sexualization of young men. Paul continues to advocate for victims of sexual abuse on social media. Jeffrey left the New Albany, Ohio-based company in 2014, and the brand has since moved away from its hypersexual image. The ex-CEO and his partner were booked in West Palm Beach, Florida, and Jacobson was arrested in Wisconsin. He, Smith, and Jacobson are facing 1 count of sex trafficking and 15 counts of interstate prostitution related to alleged misconduct that spanned from December 2008 to March 2015. I don't know how it's just 1 count of sex trafficking. Is that not interesting? If they're convicted of the charges, they all face life in prison. They will make their first court appearance later on Tuesday and will be arraigned in a U.S. District Court in the Eastern District of New York at a later date. That's a lot. I'll stop there for now. Go around. Katrina, your thoughts.
My thoughts are these people are sick and twisted. I mean, these are walking demons. There are walking demons on this earth. I mean, he coming at there smiling. He looked just like a walking demon. And if you flip the script and close your eyes, his charges sound just like Diddy. He just Diddy was the black version of him. He's the white version of Diddy. They charges sound the same. And for him to be out after doing everything that they said Diddy did, and Diddy's still locked up, I don't understand that. I think both of them still should be in jail. I don't even think he should have got a bail. They both need to be in there. How you gonna let this man out and then he got opportunities to go to another country? So you holding Diddy because you want Diddy to snitch or something? Because I don't understand the reasoning. Because I think both of them deserve the same crime. Because if you close your eyes, they both did the same identical thing. They took advantage of these people. And I feel sorry for the people that went there to be a model and you didn't feel comfortable doing it. I think I would have found me another job if he was safe to get up out of there. I don't think I would have done it if I didn't feel comfortable doing it. And if I had a safe place to go, I think I would have left. Because most of them becomes P stars or hooked on different substances because of the life that they're leading, the things that happen to them. It overwhelms a lot of them. I mean, these folks ain't doing nothing but causing people, just disrupting people's lives. This is sick. This is totally, totally sick. And for them to allow this to go on and on and on, because like you said, it's just the tip of the iceberg. For allowing Epstein, when he got caught down there in what was he in Florida whatsoever, and they was letting him go home on the weekends, and then he had to turn himself back in on Monday with the first time he was locked up. So
That is
y'all
true.
knew exactly what this man was doing, but y'all let him out. This is so sick and twisted. This is so sick and twisted, and I don't know what people's faith are, but do they honestly think they finna get away with it? Do they think God don't see everything that they're doing? You getting away with it for now, but it's always gonna come back and clash down on you because you're messing with kids. And that's one thing that he doesn't play with. He don't play with you can't mess with kids and fools. He always keep those protected. And for them to get away with the stuff they're getting away with because they got money. You got all this type of money, you got a boyfriend or whatever you got. I mean, how much sex do you want to have in a day? It's just ridiculous. Like I said, this is just sick and twisted. That's all. That's all I got, Diva.
I appreciate you. Felicia, your thoughts?
Hey, good evening, everybody. I hope everybody had a good weekend. There is a lot going on here, but if I may, I'd like to focus on the bail. Yeah, the bail. So if I recall, Mr. Combs, yes, he was charged with ex trafficking, RICO.
Mm-hmm.
And I always forget the other one. But there was
arson,
right. So he was charged with those 3. Thank you so much. And this gentleman and his boyfriend, lover, whatever, and the Mr. Jacobson, they're charged with prostitution and what else? And ex trafficking. Okay. This case, the Abercrombie case, has 15 John Does. These people have already filed civil and criminal complaints against this company and these three people. Mr. Combs' case has one Jane Doe and no complaint, criminal complaint at all. None. Mr. Combs offered $50 million, no internet, only family members to visit, 24-hour surveillance, an ankle monitor. What else? Gave up his passports. He would stay in the house. And they said no, because you were witness tampering. And as Diva said in the beginning, he didn't know that some of the people he was speaking to had already been contacted by the government and considered to be a witness for the prosecution. So, but when he found out from his attorneys, he stopped calling. So to that end, there was someone asking, well, they don't really need to tell you who it is. So if I may, Diva, I'd like to read about the Sixth Amendment of the United States Constitution, which protects the rights of the accused in criminal prosecutions. 1, you have a right to a speedy and public trial. The accused has the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury in the district where the crime was committed. The right to be informed. The accused has the right to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation. The right to confront witnesses. The accused has the right to confront the witnesses against them. 4, the right to compulsory process. The accused has the right to compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in their favor. And 5, right to assistance of counsel. The accused has the right to the assistance of counsel for their defense. Now, with all of that said and shared, I think the reason why Mr. Jeffries and the other gentlemen were able to bond out or bail out, whatever you want to call it, is because they have the complexion for the protection. They are in terms of the hierarchy, they are on the top of the chain. No reason to keep them behind bars. Don't give them no ankle bracelet. Don't give up your passports. And if you find that maybe you're having a situation where you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, and this gentleman, Brian Beaver, he's a very, very good attorney, very good. But if you don't have confidence in that, then fly out of the country and move your money, and we'll see you when we see you.
Y'all gotta watch the words that y'all put in the chat. You can't be putting GUN. I gotta delete that. You can't be putting stuff like that. Go ahead.
Yeah, just so that I can I just saw somebody say something about Miss Ventura. Miss Ventura worked for these people prior to meeting Mr. Combs. She was a model for Abercrombie Fitch, and she came to know them before she got to know Mr. Combs. I'm done.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Felicia. Juanita, you're up.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I had to jump on with this. I am just so angry at our justice system. Um, it's like they're trying to push us further and further back. Of course, Diddy was wrong for what he did,
Come on now.
but I don't see any difference in him and these other guys except for the color of his skin. So it say you can just say when you're white, you're right, and you're black, get back.
Mm.
No matter how much money you got. And it's just, and you know what? People are talking now. Now everything is being exposed. And I always felt that Diddy wasn't in this alone.
Mhm.
It's some big, big, big name people up there, some powerful people up there that's shaking in their boots because they're afraid of being exposed. So it's just and it's not over with yet. They're gonna be more exposed. But I hate the way that this system is prevailing because I mean, come on now, exactly the same crimes. Just they just turn around different names for the other guys, you know. But this it just don't make sense. It don't make sense, and it's sad. It's sad the way they tore did his house up and locked him up and throwed his boys, put handcuffs them and all this, and this man walking around with a smirk on his face like he ain't did nothing. So that's just it's just ridiculous. I'm just angry tonight. That's all, Diva.
I appreciate you. Jeffrey Epstein, before he got into the big trouble, first of all, they warned Jeffrey Epstein 1,000 times before they actually indicted him. They want to look up the Jeffrey Epstein story. They warned him 1,000 times. And even after they warned him, he was doing weekend jail. He was free Monday through Thursday. I guess you could say went to jail Thursday through Sunday, something like that, got out Sunday night and did it all over again until they finally could not cover for him anymore. I think a lot of people, because I just saw a comment on one of my other videos, people are getting it twisted. I don't care how many times I say it, people get it twisted. Let's be extremely clear. Extremely clear. And I think I said it 1,000 times, but I guess I'll go for 1,001. This is not about me saying, oh, Diddy should walk free if he did some sinister stuff to people. No, I'm not. I'm talking about due process. I'm talking about when they take the right away from one person, it trickles down to all of us. Yes, it does. So when they take away this man's right to bail, when your little cousin, your brother, Pookie and them or whomever get locked up, and then you want to sit back and you at the family table talking about why won't they give him bail? He's a first-time offender, this, that, and the other. Or why did they put the bail so high? Don't be wondering why, because you're saying right here, right now, that this man should not have a right to bail. There are people that they have proof unalive somebody and they got a bail. They got a bail. We got rumors on the street. We got rumors on the street. Epstein didn't get a bail in the end, people, but if you go back and check the Epstein case before the final thing where he got locked up again, he was doing, I'm going to be out during the weekend. He was coming to jail on the weekend. If you look up the Epstein case, they will tell you how they warned this man thousands of times before they finally said enough is enough. We got to lock you up because you're continuing to take these people to this island and violating them. And Lakeisha, I said this to the people too. Hugh Hefner did it his whole life. So I'm not. I don't want people to. Oh, Diva, you just identify. How do I identify with Diddy? Diva don't even drink. Diva don't party, and Diva is not connected to things. So no, this is not about, oh, I want Diddy to get off and walk free and all this. No, I want due process to happen. I want there to be a trial. That's what I want. And I'm also saying what is good for the goose is good for the gander. If you are letting somebody else go out on bail that did similar crimes like I did, then how do you not let me out? How? And listen, let me tell you this. Let's be clear. If the man did something We don't even need it to be 20 on 10. He could get locked up for what he did. But what's happening now is, because I just saw a video, this man, now he know, oh, I know for a fact that Diddy poisoned Jamie Foxx. Why did you not go to the cops in real time if you knew all of that? These people playing internet games. And when the feds and the popo come knocking at their door asking them to testify about what they know, they're gonna see that this is not a joke. And listen, let me add this too. This is not diva victim shaming. I'm also wondering, not saying the girl wasn't there, not saying it's not true. I'm also wondering how a 13-year-old by herself found herself at the VMA Awards. Now listen, I'm going to tell you about how I'm from New York. I'm originally from the Bronx. And I love to go to the talk shows. And when the talent that's going to be on the talk show that day shows up in their limo, it's so much security around that limo, you can't get up on it or next to it. When said celebrity is ready to leave that studio and go back in that limo, you can't get next to that limo. I ain't saying that this girl ain't telling the truth. I'm just telling you stuff I know. This girl in the latest lawsuit said she was knocking on all of these windows on the limos that was lined up. I don't even know how she got that close, but I'll roll with it. She was knocking on these windows and she happened to come upon the window that belonged to Diddy's driver. I'm going to continue. Julius, you're up. But before you go, Julius, let me say this for the record. Why would I want and sit here and say somebody that took someone's life, allegedly, armed people, allegedly took advantage of them? I saw with my own eyes this man beating Cassie. But you want to know what's interesting to me? There is a football player that cold knocked his girlfriend at the time out. She later on married this man. He didn't go to jail. Julius, you're up.
Hot mess. Double standard. And it shows us yet again that just because you have billions, you are still not at all a part of the in crowd. You will not at all always be a part of the in crowd. That's what the justice system is showing. That's what it's showing. This man needs to be locked up. The victim that shared his statement via audio, it was chilling. He was SA'd. He was unconscious. But yet, this minion demon is still running free. I'm starting to think some perpetrators love to have their fellow perpetrators running around, but that's just me. He needs to be locked up. And so do Beavis and Butthead and Bulkhead. Yep, I said it. They need to be locked up too.
I appreciate you, Julius. We're going to go ahead and move on. Felicia, go ahead. You wanted to say something?
Are we going to be reading the lawsuit, the 10-page indictment?
What time is it? We're an hour in. I don't think so.
If I may, I'd like to close out with another statement.
Yes, you can.
So I understand all of the emotions back and forth here.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree that due process needs to be at play in all matters. And I am deeply troubled because we have not only an indicted, but a convicted felon interviewing for one of the highest positions in this country.
Better talk.
That person is on and off their plane. They got all their passports. Ain't nobody worried about checking in with a parole officer or anything like that. But it seems to me that when we seek fairness from someone who has the same skin tone as myself, we are so harsh on one another. We pronounce guilt without having any facts of our own, all into our feelings. We're just into our feelings. I feel this and I feel that. I don't know exactly what Mr. Combs did. I suspect that his behavior for my standard has been immoral, unethical, and probably more than likely illegal. But there's something called due process.
Come on now.
Now, does it apply only to some or to all? So Mr. Jeffries, he put up 10 million.
Come on.
Mr. Combs offered 50.
Come on.
Someone in the chat said, well, he left with an ankle monitor, but you showed us the picture. I didn't see.
I ain't see it. I ain't see it. Talk to the people they selling you, Felicia. Come on.
And then there was a statement made that sometime in the near future, they're going to come up to New York and they're going to see the judge. I mean, 15 people have filed civil or criminal complaints against this company and these 3 individuals. And you're talking about, well, we'll see when we get there. Mr. Combs volunteered to come here.
Come on.
He was supposed to be turning himself in on a Tuesday.
Holla.
They picked him up on Monday. And then they debated whether or not he was entitled to bail. And I heard the comments about the tampering with the witnesses. But if you followed the case of Don Rashad, you understand how that come to be. So let's talk about due process. Is it fair? Is it equitable? The only person they detained was a man who is not a United States citizen. The other 2 are either at dinner right now, resting, just relaxing. And when they decide they're going to come up here,
when and if.
So one of the questions I have is why didn't they let the people in Florida pick Mr. Combs up? Why did he have to come up here? Why did they not do it there? So there's a lot of questions. I'm not prepared to say there's any equity here because, as I said, there is an indicted and convicted aura, assaulter, thief, running for the highest public job in this country. And I hear very little outrage about that. I'm done.
But I'm a Diddy lover. Chocolate Lioness. She said he's home detention with a GPS mounted. Who? I showed the picture of the man leaving the courtroom. He had no monitor on his leg and he was smiling. So you think later on they went and put the monitor on him? Got no monitor on. And
unlike they did Diddy, they had Diddy shackled down.
And let's do this here too, right? He still got his private plane. Yeah, come on, Special K. It's selective outrage. Trump is also out on bail, running for president. Listen, all I'm saying to everybody is, whatever your crime is, the law says you have rights. Apply the rights to everybody. It's interesting how, on paper, they're not calling his thing an enterprise. The sex parties, they're calling events. The last time I went to an event, I wasn't forced to do anything. But for this guy, they're calling it an event. It's an event. They're saying that a whole security company, with Diddy, they saying his security guards. They're saying they hired a whole security company. Why isn't this security company on here being indicted too? A whole security company where they said these people could not leave the room until Jeffries and Smith said they was done. I just can't even go through this because I feel like no matter what we read, what we say, how we try to educate, and I'm here to have people just open your minds and think about these things. I feel like no matter what we try to educate on, it's going to be like, well, Diddy's a monster. Well, he did this, he did that. But if we go by the indictment says arson. We can't go by street justice. If they want to add stuff to his indictment, then I'll change my mind and say different things according to what's added. But right now, the only thing on the indictment is arson, sex trafficking, and what was the other one, Felicia?
Racketeering, which means that you have a whole enterprise, and it sounds like these people at Abercrombie had more of an enterprise than Mr. Combs.
Better talk.
I don't know.
So this is the United States, and with Diddy's, it's the United States against Sean Diddy Combs. But yet he had an enterprise. But this one, they're not mentioning an enterprise, but it's the United States against Michael Jeffries, Matthew C. Smith, James Jacobson, also known as Jim J, and Miss Cook and Todd. Who is Miss Cook and Todd? At times, it is relevant in an indictment unless otherwise indicated. The defendants and relevant entities from approximately 1992 to 2014, the defendant, Michael S. Jeffries, was the chief executive officer, the CEO of Abercrombie Fitch, a fashion clothing retailer that owned and operated retail stores around the world. The Jeffries family office, the JFO, was established to manage Jeffries' personal income and assets, which included properties in Watermill, New York, and New York, the New York properties, among others. The defendant, Matthew C. Smith, was the defendant, Michael S. Jeffries' romantic partner, as well as an employee of the JFO. In addition to managing assets, the JFO employed personnel who facilitated Jeffries and Smith personal and social lives. Where am I at? By, among other things, arranging their travel and managing their properties and financial affairs. The defendant, J.T. Jacobson, also known as Jim J, Miss Cook. See, I'm confused with that. And Todd, these are other people, was employed by the defendants, Michael S. Jeffries and Matthew C. Smith, to recruit, interview, and hire men to perform commercial ads for Jeffries and Smith, including at the New York properties. That's an enterprise. Whether you want to call it an FO, they trying to call it an event, it's the same stuff. And they telling you that they had people recruiting, so forth and so on. From approximately 2008 to 2015, the defendants, Michael S., did I read that part already? Matthew, James, together with others, operated an international sex trafficking and prostitution business. During this period, Jeffries and Smith relied on their vast financial resources, Jeffries' power as a CEO of Abercrombie, and numerous people, including Jacobson, and a network of employees, contractors, and security professionals to run a business that was dedicated to fulfilling their sexual desires and ensuring that their international sex trafficking and prostitution business was kept secret, thereby maintaining Jeffries' powerful reputation. As part of the international ST and prostitution business, the defendants, Matthew, paid for dozens of men, including others, John Doe's 1 through 15, individuals whose identities are known to the grand jury, to travel within the United States and internationally to meet Jeffries and Smith in various locations, including the New York properties, as well as in hotels in such places as England, France, Italy, Morocco, and all these other places. I want to go back to, do y'all see that these names are known to the grand jury? So when their lawyers go to fight this thing, their names are known. All we're telling y'all here is due process. Diddy can't get a name, but John Doe 1 through 15, their names are already known. They're just not putting it out here to the public because they don't want all this smut going around in this case. Commercial S acts with Jeffrey Smith and others they keep calling them S events. S events. You see how they doing a wordplay here too? Because you're going to soften the blow. FO sounds freaky. But these were called S events. Some of the men traveled to and were paid to attend multiple S events. The defendants, Michael, Matthew, through the JFO, recruited, hired, and paid an exclusive set of household staff. They just calling them the staff to facilitate and supervise the S events. Among other things, the staff transported men to and from the S events, arranged physical spaces for the S events, and supervised the men who attended, including, among other things, facilitating the conduct described in the below paragraphs. The wording is different with Diddy. With Diddy, they called it highly orchestrated performances. Can anybody connect with me? They called it highly orchestrated performances. Here they're calling it supervised events. They're softening the blow because what they know is they know how to play the game. They know how, if they want to paint somebody as a monster, what words we're going to use. But here they could get some due process. They're sex events. Now you thinking cheese and crackers was being passed around. At the direction of the defendants, Michael, Matthew, the staff were present at, observed, and acted as security for, including by controlling the entry and exit for these events. You tell me, you pull up one case, I read them all. You pull up one case where they clearly wrote in it that someone was controlling the entry and the exit. If you go back to the last cases that BuzzFeed filed, the one girl, when they was done, she came, she ran out, she had a knife, she got in a knife fight. Was the entry and the exit blocked? If you read all the Diddy cases, after these said crimes were done, the people said they left, they somehow got away, whatever the case may be. But yet y'all like, cool, this man is out on bail. But y'all say Diddy is the bigger monster. But this is the written word right here. This ain't Diva putting on 2110 or making it up. They said there was controlled entry and exit ways. The staff also provided Jeffrey Smith and the men who attended with alcohol, muscle relaxers known as poppers, lubricant. Y'all went crazy over the lubricant. He had 1,000 bottles. Well, here we got another party, lubricant. There's a blueprint to all of these parties, and they're all the same. Where was I? Lubricant, Viagra, condoms, and other items, as directed by Jeffries and Smith. The staff also directed to, among other things, wear costumes, use toys, prepare for particular S acts. Either defendant James C. Jacobson or the staff paid the men for attending the S events. The defendant James traveled throughout the United States and internationally to recruit and interview men for the S events. During tryouts of potential candidates, Jacobson typically required the candidates first engage in commercial X acts with him. Following the tryout, Jacobson, the defendant Matthew C., approved candidates prior to selection for and transportation to the S event. At the direction of Smith and Jacobson, paid fees to individuals who successfully referred men who subsequently were selected. So they started to recruit the men that they were recruiting to help them to recruit more men. The defendants Michael, Matthew, and James, and others acting at their direction, employed coerced, fraudulent, and deceptive tactics in connection with the recruitment, hiring, transportation, attaining, maintaining, solicitation, and payment of the men to engage in commercial sex. For example, Jeffrey Smith Jacobson and others acting at their direction. Employed a referral system and interview process that failed to inform men of the details of the S events before they attended, including the full extent nature of the S activity that would be required of the men at the S events, including, among other things, backdooring them, the insertion of toys into them, and highly pressured stuff into them. It was things. Required prospective candidates first participate in an encounter as a tryout with Jacobson, at times without advance notice. Caused men to believe that attending the S events could yield modeling opportunities where Abercrombie or other unwise benefit their careers, or in the alternative, they not complying with the request for certain acts during the S events could harm their careers, including by, among other things, referring directly and indirectly to modeling opportunities that did not exist, incorporating Abercrombie products in the S events, and providing men with itineraries for the S events that did not refer to commercial sex, and instead resemble those often sent to models for photo shoots, thereby obscuring the nature of S events for men selected to attend. They're being accused of physically grooming men prior to the S events, including at times shaving men's private areas without advance notice. Required men to relinquish their personal items, including clothing, wallets, cellular phones, and store them in an inaccessible location during the S events. Required men to sign non-disclosures agreements, which, among other things, prohibit the disclosure of information about S events, including their own family and friends, and required the payment of damages in the event of a breach. Intentionally recruited heterosexual men, certain of whom were unwilling to engage in particular S acts, including being backdoored, and insisted that men who previously stated they were unwilling to engage in particular S acts, including backdoor, nonetheless engage in such acts during the S event. Pressure men to consume alcohol, Viagra, and muscle relaxants on as popper during these S events. Required the presence of staff during the S activity and ensured the men attending did not leave the S events until Jeffries and Smith decided they were over. On more than one occasion, the defendants Michael and Matthew either directed others to personally inject men in their private area with a prescription grade type of Viagra for the purpose of causing the men to engage in these acts which they were otherwise physically incapable or unwilling to do. Notwithstanding the fact that these injections were not medically indicated and frequently causing men to suffer painful physical reactions that lasted several hours, Jeffries and Smith employed their use to fulfill their own S desire by causing men to submit to them. On more than one occasion, the defendants Michael and Matthew engaged in X acts, continue to engage in X acts, to cause men to engage in S acts, including but not limited to backdoor, the use of high-pressured enemas to which the men did not or were unable to consent. The allegations contained in paragraphs 1 through 11 are re-alleged and incorporated as if fully set forth in this paragraph. In or about between December 2008 and March 2015, both dates being approximate and inclusive. Within the Eastern District of New York and elsewhere, the defendants Michael, Matthew, James, also known as Jim J, Miss Cook, and Todd, together with others, did knowingly and intentionally recruit, entice, harbor, transport, provide, obtain, and maintain by any means one or more persons in and affecting interstate commerce, and did benefit financially by receiving anything of value from participation in a venture which engaged in such acts, knowing in reckless disregard of the fact that means of force, threats of force, fraud, and coercion, as described in Title 18 in the United States Code, and the combination of such means would be used to cause such persons to engage in more S acts. which offense was affected by means of force, threats of force, fraud, coercion, and combination of such. The allegations contained in paragraphs 1 through 11 are realleged and incorporated for all the defendants. They have here, like I said, they list John Doe through number 15. The names are not within this document, but the names are known to the grand jury. I'm trying to think what else is in here. Okay, criminal, where am I at? Criminal forfeiture allegation as to count 1. The United States give notice to the defendants. I'm trying to see where the charges are here. All right, that's pretty much it.
No kidnapping.
No kidnapping.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No kidnapping. No kidnapping.
No hanging from the shower rod.
No. What do you call that, Felicia? No RICO charges. No RICO charges.
But how did it not get kidnapping when these people are saying they was forced to stay in these rooms
And they couldn't get out.
until they let them win? So basically you are kidnapping me. You holding me
Exactly.
against my will. So why they ain't got kidnapping charges is that?
Listen, all points I'm trying to make here, okay? Not saying that, oh, this man, if Diddy did something, clearly, whatever Diddy did, he needs to pay. He needs to pay. He needs to pay. But how are we going to find out what he did if they keep giving us smoke screens? Trippy, did anyone think that the Fed's prosecution perhaps have info? That's the reason they want to keep Diddy in jail. But you see, here's the thing. Thank you so much for the super chat. I truly appreciate you. Here's the thing, though. You can't write something on the indictment and then say you got a trump card in your back pocket as to why you keeping them in jail. That's not how the law works. If you are accusing me of robbing the bank and having a weapon while I robbed the bank and everything else, you can't just say, oh, Diva robbed the bank. We're going to keep her. No. What are the other charges? I have a right to know. They got
They're
to
supposed
read
to
you
show
your
him his
rights.
discovery. Yeah, I'm sorry, Diva.
So you got to tell you, they got to read you your rights. This is what you're being arrested for. This is what you're being accused of.
And if they don't Mirandaize you, your arrest doesn't hold. Because they have to Mirandaize you by law.
I hope they publicize the trials because I want to know what's going on, Diva. I'll be willing to come up there and attend the trials with you. They not the what do you call it? Well, you know,
The feds don't ever televise their court. But what I was saying is Diddy whoever the prosecution, they got to show Diddy lawyer the discovery. He has to see the discovery. You cannot stop him from seeing that discovery on the complaints that's against you. They have to show that his lawyer the discovery. So I don't know what they're doing up in New York or what's going on, but that's the mandatory thing. You have to see the discovery in order for his lawyer to go against what they're saying in the discovery. So it has to be shown up.
So Renee, hold on, I'm gonna let you speak. Felicia. Renee said, Diva, you don't know. Discovery would have a whole lot more than we know. But you gotta help me out. What is it that I don't know? The lawyers, I don't do nothing without reading an article or something. The lawyers are asking the judge for the name. This is the discovery period. Discovery is discovery. You got to tell me what you have in discovery. So you got to talk to me a little bit more. What are you saying? I don't know. This is discovery. So give me what you have so I could defend my client. Go ahead, Felicia.
If I may, I just wanted to share from Mr. Cohn's indictment how count 2 read. So count 2 on his says X trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. whereas the one for Mr. Jeffries did not read like that. So it was upgraded on Mr. Combs, but not on Mr. Jeffries.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what? I'm gonna make this clear. And yes, listen, y'all. December 15th and the November 4th or whatever. That's like around the corner. I won't be going to nobody court for that. But December, I think I keep changing the date. It's December to something. December to something. He's supposed to be back in court. I'm not sure for what. But I'm going to try to make my way out there to Brooklyn and see what's good. Okay. I'm going to try to make my way out to Brooklyn and see what's good. Now, there was something else I wanted to say. What did I want to say? Thank y'all guys for hitting that like button. Was there something else you wanted to say, Felicia? I'm sorry. Okay, you're good. All right. So no, December 18th. Thank you, Emmanuel. Yes, December 18th. Okay, I'm gonna be rolling in Brooklyn December 18th. Bundle up because it's probably gonna be cold. I want to say
put it in your reminder.
I will. I'll put it in my. Okay, wait. Somebody. Okay, Carver said based on RICO crimes, A&F was exactly activity with no kidnapping. Diddy RICO drugs. What am I missing there? What you saying? Yeah, but they had drugs, right? They had all the things. They had the money laundering, right? The cash and all of that. Same thing they saying with Diddy, like cash. They was in hotels. They hired a whole security company, which is a little bit different than Diddy, right? Because Diddy hired security that worked for him. They hired a security company. So this security company that they hired, why didn't they go back to their company and say, look, I ain't working for these people no more. They got me blocking and watching and trying to do this, that. They're doing criminal activities. I'm good. I'm not going back. It's a security company, right?
Diva, if I may
Yes.
also add, the indictment didn't charge Abercrombie and Fitch.
They oh, come on now.
They didn't put them in there. Mm-mm.
Ain't that something?
Yeah, but they put
Like
Sean.
Bad Boy Records, Bad Boy.
Yeah, they sure did.
Come on now, Felicia.
This is insanity.
It's insanity, right?
It's
See,
ridiculously.
this is all we're trying to get the people to see, but people are focused on Diva. You want to see Diddy get off? Child, are you crazy?
No, what you want to see is justice done on an equal base on both sides.
Come on now.
That's all the basic premise. That's
They
all
got every company that the man ever owned operated in there. Come on,
Going
special.
Exactly.
back to
I like that shout out you gave to Felicia. That's all. Raheem, I didn't know you live in the area. Raheem, I'm going on the 18th. Gonna see that bald head in the streets. I told my sister, make me a hat. Keep my head warm. Keep my head warm.
They even had Mama Combs LLCs up in that indictment.
Listen, we going to the courthouse, regardless wherever the court is located in the city. We going there. Got people working. I'm trying to get in the building. Raheem, email me. We going.
And bring us back all the information, Diva.
Yeah.
All the information.
And listen, what's killing me too is they calling this an event. An event?
Well, with the event, did they serve cute little sandwiches and little
Come on now.
teacups and tea cakes and stuff like that?
At least with the salami charcuterie boards, something with some substance.
There's a good chance that these prayers will be answered again. Come on, Paula, you working with me. They're playing games where you can end up having a mistrial. People got to, come on, special case, stay woke. People got to understand this is law.
Mm-hmm.
And this right here is something current in their face. You better believe if I was Diddy's attorney, I'd be like, and it's in the same court district. It's in New York.
Oh, heck no.
These people have to be expedited and brought to New York. So you mean to tell me y'all went and got that client, y'all went to Florida, Wisconsin, or wherever to go arrest them. My client cooperated and came to New York and was waiting up in the hotel to turn himself in. My client gave y'all everybody in his family's a passport. My client told you he would sell his plane. My client offered $50 million. This man gets $10 million and he walked out and he didn't even spend that much time in handcuffs or in that jail.
And then trust to have a smirk on his face.
Right. And they purposely, let's keep it 100. They purposely picked him up at night, knowing that there was no chance would judge you seeing that night to get out that night, that day. They knew he was going to have to, at the very least, even if you knew you was going to keep him in and deny bail, you knew he wasn't going to go nowhere that night. Y'all picked him up at night.
You know what? It's still the good old boy system.
That's all we're talking about. And what I want people to understand is today is with Diddy. Tomorrow's your uncle, your cousin, your brother, your family member, your friend, yourself.
And can I say one thing, Diva? That's why it is so important that we get out and we vote for our locals, our state representatives, and
Well,
what's coming up in this election. Because
hell
if
no.
we don't, it's gonna be hell to pay.
Right. And let me be clear, y'all. I don't need the discovery. I don't need the names. If y'all been coming to my channel, I don't do sensationalism. I don't do sensationalism. So I'm going by Diddy's lawyers asking the courts to say their names. I don't need to know the name, but I'm telling you in this man's document, not Diva making it up, not Diva putting 20 on 10. In this document, they said the grand jury already knows the 15 names. To the grand jury, it's not a John Doe, it's not a Jane Doe, it's not a this Doe, it's not a that Doe. They know the names. So his lawyers clearly can already start doing up a fight for them. Clearly. Because they know who they're fighting against. Sasuke, wherever it's at, Diva got a car and Diva got friends. I can be there.
Diva, I just did a little research. Folks in the chat too. They said, I don't know what happened at the end of today, but the net worth value of Abercrombie and Fitch is $7.9 billion.
But they're not named in this.
They're not named.
They're not named. But this man was doing everything.
Like Biggie said, give me the loot.
Wait, hold on. This man was doing everything under the name of Abercrombie and Fitch. They thought they was coming to an event so that they could model for the company. But the company is not named. The company is not named. But they got Bad Boy Entertainment, Puff Daddy Studios, P. Diddy Studios, Ciroc, The Vodka, Revolt TV. I'm just adding stuff now. But y'all get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They got all of that on the lawsuit, but this one right here, they don't mention Abercrombie and Fitch until they mention like what these. It just don't make sense.
It doesn't. It's just it's just sickening. That's what it is. It's actually sickening.
Yeah. You know what? Because child, wait, hold on. I think we're gonna close out with this story. I'm gonna have to address those stories another day. Karina, you saying names of who? What about the celebrities? What about the celebrities involved? I don't know what you mean. You gotta tell me what you mean. But who's the best of both worlds? The candidates, this election is not looking good. Shame on the independent, never has a chance. All right. I saw the ankle swollen. All right, I don't know what that means. Okay. All right, guys, listen. Anything else before I close out? Or should I do this? You know what story I can do really quickly? Hold on one second. Let me see if I can bring it up. I think anybody now who speaks on like a Diddy behalf is going to get slammed. I'll show this real quick. He said, Sasuke said he did not own Abercrombie and Fitch. They did not work for the company. Who did you saying all the John Does did not work for the company? I don't know about that because I'm not gonna go back. Let me move on. Okay, let me go Busta Rhymes. Hold on, let me stop. Let me.
Insensitive it could be to have opinions on things that you have no understanding of outside of what you're being told. I think that we kind of like confuse ourselves, prematurely pass judgment, and we're not realizing how much we can directly and indirectly affect everyone involved with our unwarranted opinions. So with that being said, I'm going to reserve my opinions and I'm going to wish the best for everyone involved. And I think that we really should take away what I'm saying. The one thing that we should take away from what I'm saying is everybody probably need to mind their damn business until the truth is undisputed. At that point, justice needs to be served accordingly for everyone involved. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's unfortunate because I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. And I'm talking about for the victims and I'm talking about for Diddy. So, I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to mind my business and hopefully everybody can find it in their hearts to keep their opinions to themselves and just know that every time you voice an opinion, you might be hurting somebody. I also would like for everyone to be mindful of the thirst and the urgency and the need to speak on the situation. I think a lot of times people don't realize how insensitive it could be to have opinions on things that you have no understanding of outside of what you're being told. I think that
Y'all gonna
So
be mad at me. I agree with what he's saying. Because
yeah,
some folks put in 20 on 10 and it's not even making sense.
but hold on, Julius. You know I like to go in order. Let me just bring order back and then I'm gonna close out. uh Katrina, your thoughts on what Busta Rhymes said?
Okay, everybody has an opinion until they go to court, and the court will make the decision. Everybody need their day in court. But this is the man that was also sued by Janet Jackson for sexual harassment. And never don't forget that Craig Mack was his friend, and you saw what Diddy did to your friend allegedly. But anyway, everybody deserved their day in court. I'm not God. I can't judge because I don't want nobody judging me. We hear things that goes on in the streets, but we don't know if it's true because we didn't see it. Only thing we seen on with our own two eyes is the beating in the hotel. The other stuff we didn't see. The other stuff we heard about or somebody talked about. So yeah, everybody deserved their day in court. And if he's found guilty in court, he goes to jail, prison, or whatsoever. But I can't condemn nobody because I don't want nobody condemning me. Even though he have done, and we heard he did some bad things, but we didn't see him. So he'll get his day in court. The other guy, the one that got away, they all need to be locked up as well if Diddy's still in there. But with Busta Rhymes, I understand what he's saying. People make assumptions, people make ideas because we haven't seen it. Like I said, we didn't see it. We know this happened, but we didn't see the other stuff they say he did. So, like I said, we'll just see what the courts say. That's
Thank
all I got.
you, Alicia.
Diva, thank you so much for taking on this topic. It's a tough topic,
Whew.
but so many of us have to deal with the criminal justice system in one way or another. And it's so good to be able to understand the language that they're using, how people are treated differently, what is supposed to be the process. I'm really angry that that man got to leave there today. Yeah, I believe, yeah, he should have been locked up. Everybody should be locked up. You got indicted. These are horrendous charges against you. Then everybody gets locked up. But if everybody ain't getting locked up, then we have to have a different conversation. If due process is in play, it's in play. If it's not, it's not. And again, we have this man who's indicted and convicted, and he's out here doing what he want on his plane when he want. And if he decide he wanted to leave tonight, he can go, and it would be all right. So I'm just confused by all of what is it, how we are differentiating who should be in and who should be out. I'm done.
I appreciate you. Juanita, your final thoughts?
I'm sorry, I forgot I was muted.
No problem.
I'm agreeing with Felicia. One thing the old saying go, and I truly hate it for Diddy, but this man that's getting away, he need to remember every dog has his day, and a good one has too. So that's all I gotta say about that.
Thank you, Julius. Your final thoughts?
Well, I agree with Busta. Because some folks are just speaking to speak and they think they know everything and they don't. And it makes this situation a heck of a lot worse. Now, for us, we have conversation. We just bring the news. That's all we do. But I agree with Busta. And I also agree with what Miss Felicia is saying and also Miss Juanita. Every rooster has their day. It will be exposed soon enough. That's it. That's all. Good night, everybody. Hit the like button. Going out.
All right. Listen, guys, thank you for everything. I appreciate y'all for being here. You know these topics. I just be like, oh my God. But I'm glad y'all hung in there with us while we went through this. We'll talk about Cardi B's situation tomorrow because it is pretty serious. I mean, it's one thing not to like somebody. It's a whole nother thing to play these internet games and calling CPS on her. I think people are just doing too much. You're just doing too much. But anyway, guys, y'all know the routine. If you didn't hit the like button on the way in, hit the like button on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody.